Welcome everyone to the Breezy Briefs podcast. I'm your host Breezy here with my co-host Briefs.
What's up?
Today we got quite a few topics. A little bit, I don't know. It's a good day for news, but also a weird day for news. Not, it's like the perfect balance between these are important things that have happened,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
on their own, they don't sound meaty enough, you know?
yeah. That makes
But
sense. Yeah.
yeah, the first topic of today we have a new patch for Dragon Ball Fighters currently live, and that is the banning of rage quitters, or at least a better management on how to handle people who rage quit in that game. Thank the Lord, it's finally come.
So yeah, when you boot up the game for the first time after this patch, it tells you that they changed the way that they're handling people rage quitting in games or in their games. Um, it's like the first couple times it'll be a 1 week ban. And if they notice repeat offenses, it's going to be a perma ban. Um, I mean, it's one of those things where I get it, but
Yeah.
is it 100% the right step to take? You know, because you got to think like the people want Wi-Fi that shitty net code.
I'm sorry. This,
Uh,
this is that moment where I feel like I don't really care. And I no, legitimately, I've reached that point where I was going to have to be a Wi-Fi warrior because I had to run a really absurdly long Ethernet cord, which is a tripping hazard, and I just bought power line adapters. I feel like fighting game fans spend quite a bit of money per game, and they tend to dabble in a lot of games. If they're going to be someone who rage quits and constantly comes back to Dragon Ball, they probably bought the DLC. They love the game just in a different way than I do. You're telling me they can't invest in some way to have a better not I'm not saying get a better internet provider because that's you might be limited. We're unlimited. We're in a monopoly. We are stuck with our current provider. But I have found different avenues to improve my fighting game experience connection wise. And we've already established that Arc System Works has specified a clear difference if you are dropping packet loss because you are on Wi-Fi and it's unintentional, you're disconnecting, which is rare to happen. I've seen people have extreme packet loss and the game will freeze, but it's extremely rare.
yeah.
Extremely rare. Like we're talking like one out of how many hundreds of games where someone lagged out rather than rage quit. So I don't expect that to happen. And if it does, I'm pretty sure Arc Systems would somehow review that because they have said they will take a look into it if you are accidentally leaving to reinstate you in some way or fashion. So I'm not worried about that person.
Yeah. So
No.
so on that note of people lagging out, when I was looking at the tweets and stuff, because I'm on Twitter all the time. When I was looking at social media's reaction to this, it seemed like people talking about lagging out of games tended to be Xbox players, and it seemed like that's a issue that is occurring on Xbox a lot more than it is on PlayStation and PC. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, it doesn't affect me. I don't play on fucking Xbox. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but those players, you start to feel a little bad.
I mean, I feel bad, but like, let's be like, it's this whole console generation for Xbox, man. What are we gonna say? What can we say at this point?
That's true.
And that's it's an ecosystem. If we're really talking about the meat of the Dragon Ball fan base, we're talking like the Switch users, the PC users, and the PlayStation. It's predominantly PlayStation. PlayStation people are carrying this game. They play too much of this game. PlayStation records have maybe twice or three times the amount of games compared to all the other platforms. I don't see anybody getting 5,000 matches PC or Switch version at all.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where hopefully, I think it needs to be looked at a little more. Not the banning. I agree with banning fucking rage quitters. Fuck that shit. I'm talking about. I think there needs to be a system in place to monitor how they are quitting, if that's even possible.
From
a developer standpoint.
Yeah, that depends if ArcSys was already keeping track of something along those lines. Then it's just as simple as okay, we've already collected that type of data normally. Now we just reference that data in this next patch and use that as the determining factor, right?
Yeah.
But if they weren't already collecting the data they would need for that, then that's when you upgrade your terms of services, and that's something you may not actually get in a patch, or that may be a Dragon Ball FighterZ 2. That may be too much of a leap to expect anytime soon, especially given COVID. We still got Roshi to come out, and what, 2 more characters after Roshi?
I believe so. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think 2. It's at least 2. I don't think it's 3.
What is it?
If it's 3, the season isn't going to end forever.
5 new characters. We've already got what, 3 of them? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's 2 more.
2 more? Yeah, but my point is, I don't expect them to invest too much more tweaking into the system besides, okay, is the time frame long enough or short enough or okay. What's the last thing you're
doing? I said, yeah, there's 2 characters left.
2 characters left? Okay, so you missed all that. All right, so I'm saying I don't expect there to be too many changes in how Arxis handles banning people, besides just saying the time frame in which you were banned or unbanned is too long or too short, or the parameters and how many games you have to rage quit or disconnect from to get banned is too big or too small. Other than that, I don't expect them to tweak how they ban people too much beyond that.
See, I think banning someone for a whole week for 1 rage quit is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like I get that's a violation of terms of service, and that's like their legal reason for putting this in. But I think just 1 game. People get mad all the time, man. I think there needs to be. I think 5 games would be a good start. You rage quit 5 games. All right, have fun for a week, sitting out. I mean, I think that would be something that, if that's not already what it is, obviously, I don't think anyone's really tried it yet.
Definitely no one's going to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Signs, let me take the lick and just rage quit 3 times in a row and see what happens. I don't believe it's one and done, 1 and you're gone for a week. I'll look into that later. But either way, I feel at the very least, if you've popped off, because people who rage quit, you're not just rage quitting once a night. You've probably rage quitted more than once today. We could make that a safe assumption. It's very unlikely that if you raged against me, you aren't going to have a fit, come back to the game, and try to play another match when you should walk away from the controllers.
And here's my other question, right? So if I rage quit in ranked, right, more than likely that's going to result in a ban eventually.
Yeah, odds are this is going to be a ranked.
If I rage quit in a casual match, like a casual online match, how will that work? If I rage quit in a ring match, am I still going to get banned if I'm playing against friends?
The way I see it, bro, is 3 strikes you're out in ranked. This is how I'd set it up. 3 strikes you're out. If you rage quit, especially if it's the same day. Same day, you might. If I was feeling really ugly, I would say you get the perma ban if it's 3 times in the same day in ranked. But 3 strikes you're out, you're banned for a week. If it's casual or any other game mode, I almost want to say I don't care if you rage quit, because
see, ring match, I don't give a fuck. Ring match, you're probably playing against like a good friend like you and me playing. I rage quit for fun against you all the time. Like if I know I'm gonna get it.
Bro, we both acknowledge.
But it's like if I'm about to start getting bans for that, like what the fuck? See, and then what is going to be the so say it's 3 strikes you're out, right? Say I have 2 strikes. How long of a period has to go on before those 2 strikes get wiped away? Or is it the rest of my Dragon Ball FighterZ career? I'm sitting there on 2 strikes.
Bro, can you imagine that carries over Dragon Ball 2?
Yeah, or is it okay? You haven't rage quit in like a week, you're back down to 0 strikes, or 2 weeks, you're back down to 0 strikes, or whatever that limit would be.
Yeah,
I think 2 weeks would be good, but still, Like there,
You
I
want
think
to,
that needs to be a limit as well of when do these strikes get taken away if there are any strikes, if it's not just one and done.
yeah, definitely. I see it being 2 weeks is a good buffer. You want it to be a sweet spot where that rage quitter can't say, I'm going to play Dragon Ball today, rage quit 2 times, then blue ball themselves from Dragon Ball for like a day or two, and then come back and like, oh, I can rage quit 2 more times, blue ball them. You know, when you give kids
Yeah,
a limit, because it's the same thing with children. If you give a child like, oh, 3 strikes in, you're out, but I tell you when I erase the strike, that kid's just going to keep pushing the envelope in that spot. People
yeah,
who rage quit are going to be like, I'm good. That's only my second rage quit, but that's still going to upset that person that was like, you just rage quit against me in a really close game where I was going to rank up. How? Come on, man. That we're still going to see complaints of people in Arxis, even if we limit the number of rage quits one person could have. Every rage quit they do is another tweet at Arxis that they have to deal with. When realistically, Arc system work should not be getting a complaint tweet from you because someone rage quitted against you. That's just bad sportsmanship. That's bad
yeah,
etiquette.
yeah, for sure.
That's a people issue. There's only so much you can do with software to fix a people problem. Rage quitting is someone not being capable of holding an L. That's something, no matter how much patching you do, it's just going to be a fact. In any game, people get salty. In any game, people are going to just, act a donkey.
For sure.
I think this is the best path we can go forward rather than just doing nothing. Take this.
Yeah. Well, I think that would wrap up our Dragon Ball conversation. I don't think there's any, any other questions we have, to be honest, with the thing. I think we've asked
Yeah.
all the questions and gave, our thoughts on all the questions that we would have or our possible answers.
Like,
there's.
Could you imagine season 1 of Dragon Ball though with this patch?
Oh yeah, there would be no player base.
Oh yeah, like season 1 of Dragon Ball was riddled with people rage quitting like all the time. Now it's calmed down considerably now, but they're still out there. But season 1, that's why they had to get rid of the square system and showing you a preview of that person with their rank and their title and all. Now that's all you. The only thing you could see when you enter a ranked match queue is just that person's ZU
in their like connection bar.
Yeah, that's the only 2 pieces of information you get, because everything else intimidated players.
No, I think you get it in when you like start loading. You don't get it at like the screen to like, do I want to fight this person? I think you see all the information when you start loading in though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. That's the key, because before people were just denying matches with anyone that seemed like they were going to be better than them, which never.
Yeah, but those fucking squares don't mean shit anymore.
Like, this is the thing. Squares, and this is kind of off the topic, but this is something I think is important for why people rage quit in Dragon Ball. The square system was reinforced and is still reinforced by a lot of competitive YouTubers who stream or play Dragon Ball and are competitive and are really famous or infamous for it. Right? You could turn into probably any Dragon Ball YouTuber or streamer and hear them say something about this stupid green square, or insert dumb mashing orange square, or this guy really is a pink square. There's no way. When all of the square is just consecutive match win-loss ratio.
Yeah. And like,
you could be a good player and have been washed and lose a pink square in a day.
Yeah, and I could be a pink square by beating up on my friend who just picked up the game the other day.
Exactly. So you can boost your square color, and you can quickly diminish your square color, because not everyone has a good day or a consistent win-loss ratio. Usually you're going to have your good days and your bad days. So you're human. So I think people are always going to find ways, like they have the score system, to rank themselves, even if there was no ranking system in a game. And our system works is just doing what they can to mitigate that as much as possible. So props to them. Anyway, I think that's all right. That's good. That's good. Pinning that. Done.
All right. So on to our next topic. There is a video that I saw, because I'm in SageM's Discord, of 2 StarCraft casters talking about the kind of movement from people, I guess, of that want the removal of input motions from fighting games, to make it easier, basically. I think you and me talked about it a little bit,
Yeah, we
So we could just,
brushed on it.
I guess we could like reiterate our thoughts, but it's an interesting thing. I'll put a link in of the video in the description, hopefully, if I remember. I think I said that last podcast and I didn't do it. Um, but yeah,
I'll remind you.
what are your thoughts, Bleak?
Definitely the video. At first, when you mentioned the video to me and I didn't see it yet, I was worried that these guys were going to say, I'm for removing motions or something along the
Yes,
lines of,
they are
you know,
bashing people that want the removal of motion
yeah.
inputs.
In the video, I was just shocked to see that people who are commentating a non-fighting game were in support of that's stupid. Why would you remove something that even we as non-fighting game players acknowledge as a core thing that you just attribute with fighting games, right? And something I want to say my thought process or the train of thought I was going on when we talked about the video after seeing it was removing motions isn't going to keep people in fighting games. The player base you bring in when you remove motions is not going to keep those people playing longer or more or buying DLC or buying Capcom merch or any fighting game merch. It's not going to save the FGC. It's not going to bring in new kids or new faces, like Smash. I believe that every genre or every scene and every click has an invisible barrier to entry, right? All right, jocks, you need. All right, are you on a specific sports team? That's a barrier to entry. Are you athletic enough to be on this team? That's a barrier to entry. If you didn't have to be athletic to be a jock, everyone could be a jock. I don't think a lot of people would want to stay in the jock crowd, even if they could get in.
Yeah.
What's the other one? There was another example I gave where, chess. So I mentioned it being similar to chess. Okay, chess is a game you could, in theory, play with different pieces. You don't need the pieces to look the way they look. But you could argue the more you change little things like that, okay, the material the chess pieces are made out of, what the colors of the board look like, or the sizes of the chess pieces, the more you change things like that, is that going to make someone who thought chess looked boring, oh, the chessboard is interesting now? Is this still really chess? Am I still going to play chess? Probably not. I wasn't playing chess before. So to me, if you remove fighting game motions, there's going to be another thing behind that as soon as they get bodied by someone that they're going to complain about. That if we keep accommodating to you when you complain like that, are you actually going to stay or are you eventually going to leave? And I think you're eventually going to leave. What are your thoughts, bro?
So one thing I was seeing of like people like fighting for the removal was making it easier for people that have disabilities. And obviously, I'm sitting here going, well, we have Broly Legs and he plays these fucking games.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I mean, there are ways, like I said, Broly Legs plays fucking Street Fighter. And he doesn't use his hands to, play.
Yeah, we've had blind people play Street Fighter. Low tier God played a blind dude. Right? He played Broly Legs and a blind Ken player.
Got beat by both.
He got beat by both. Yes.
I don't know if he got beat by the blind dude. I know he got beat by Broly Legs.
He lost a round or two. I don't remember if he actually lost the set, but I do remember.
We got Hawaiian Shirt Man putting a blindfold on when he streams, beating people up.
Yeah. So I think fighting games are a beautiful thing, but the motions and the combos and the block strings and whatever system mechanics you have, I think to me is just the catalyst. That's the pretty thing that gets you in the door when you're a fighting game fan and you know what you like already. You have a distinct taste. I know I like this type of combo system, or I know I like parries. Game that has it, I'm walking in the door. That I've already accepted that barrier to entry, and I like that barrier being there. That reassures me. That's the same reason when you look at the back of a movie case and it says action or adventure or gore or horror or thriller, you immediately know I like this or not. I'm into that.
Yeah.
If this game says there's no fireballs, some people might be like, ill, there's no fireballs in this game. I'm not buying it. That's a barrier to entry. So, the last example I gave, Final Fantasy 14 Online. Since we play a pay subscription to Square Enix for this MMO, right? Before, for years, us and our friend group mentioned we would like to try playing this game or some form of MMO. But most MMOs have a paid subscription for that higher fidelity and system mechanics and graphics, right? Most free MMOs tend to be bloated or awkward, or you just drop them. So now that I have a paid subscription, not reimbursing, yeah, I guess you could say reimbursing my need to play the game more because I'm paying for it. For if I had a free MMO, me and my friends would have logged in and then not played it anymore after we finished maybe the first couple of quests.
Yeah.
I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14 and enjoying it. The subscription or that barrier, I'm saying, is a reminder or a form of commitment. So if you don't like horror movies, if you don't like that commitment, if you don't like playing an instrument, you're not going to play the instrument when instruments get easier to play. You're just going to probably watch people on YouTube. You're going to live vicariously through that.
Yeah.
But we do have people in terms of impairment, or you don't physically have the ability to play fighting games. I understand there are people who are impaired who may have difficulty or not the ability to use default controls. But as gaming has evolved, there's multiple ways to play a fighting game without use of a regular conventional controller, or to compensate in spite of your impairment. You know,
Yeah.
like I want to say there was the Xbox controller that is designed for people with special needs or people who have physical impairment.
Yeah. I remember seeing the commercials on YouTube like every day when it first came out.
Like if you want to, like if I had a child and that child was disabled, I could still give my child a controller that is designed for them, or I could find a special needs controller that they could use and then still teach them a fighting game.
Yeah.
The controller avenue is no longer, I feel, a valid argument as to why you don't play fighting games. And I feel like the people who are complaining about fighting games aren't people who don't have an arm. I don't know anyone, or I haven't seen anyone on Twitter say, I have no right eye. I don't have 5 fingers. I don't have 2 feet. I can't play fighting games. I tend to see people who are already upset about something else use that as a counter argument, saying, this is also why it's dumb, is because so and so who's in a wheelchair couldn't play this game. And I'm thinking, so is playing this game in there. We have people who are in wheelchairs playing this game. That doesn't equate to you complaining. That's not a valid argument. You're distracting from the real issue. And I think that's my biggest grievance with the whole conversation of motions and simplifying fighting games, is that no one really, when I want to speak to someone who is pro simplifying fighting games, I tend to see things that aren't really an argument. They're more so just complaints or things you can say as, okay, I'll shut up now, leave me alone. I don't want to play fighting games. And it's okay to not play fighting games. If you don't want to play them, I'm not going to force you. Just acknowledge you don't want to play them. And maybe we can make the FGC seem nicer or more open to people who are possibly considering to play them. When you complain about something you don't like and no one's concerned about you and you complain louder, you make the FGC seem toxic or negative to you or other people around you, when that's not the case.
Yeah.
We want you to come in, but you just have to acknowledge you have to try, and not everyone's willing to try.
Yeah, I feel that. I don't know, man. It's one of those difficult things. It's like, I understand. But it's like, if we take away all these different things, I feel like you're taking away the appeal of fighting games. Like you said, the barrier of entry is why I think the barrier of entry for fighting games is why people still stay. They had a grind to be able to do half the shit that they do, like all these combos and stuff. And they're like, I can't drop this game. I just spent 5 hours in training mode learning how to play.
How many hours of Dragon Ball have we both collectively put into? You can't get that back. I mean, we're not getting those hours.
Yeah, I can look it up. Well, give me one second.
We're literally never getting our hours back in Dragon Ball.
Because you got like 600, I think.
Actually, no, not on Steam. You got to count again, buddy.
Oh, you got 1,000 or something, don't you?
I got 900. Yeah, 900 in the Steam for Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I also have, I know, at least over 100 on the PS4 version of Dragon Ball, and a couple hours in the Switch version, because I want to support Arc System Works in the best way I can.
Let's see. I have 296 on PC. So we have over probably like 1,500.
Yeah. So you got to think how
Adding in
many
our
other things,
PlayStation time.
how many other skills do people who aren't playing fighting games dedicate that much amount of time to get good at it? And how many things of that caliber, like, I don't know, learning a different trade, learning to play a certain instrument, doing a certain thing that me and you aren't interested in learning, but someone else has found that that grind they put in to learn that skill is going to validate them to reuse it or to keep molding it.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful thing in that. When the moment you started going the training mode on your own, I knew you were going to either find enjoyment or find why you don't like fighting games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if to me, when you complain about fighting games, you say only the same three arguments over, that tells me you don't really even turn them on and play them for more than 5 minutes. If you actually played a couple matches with people, you could tell me specifically what you don't like. And those are things that people can teach you how to avoid the things you don't like or how to get better to not be frustrated about that specific thing. If you don't like people bullying you in fighting games, you can look at a match and say, "Oh, you get jumped in all the time. Hey, do this."
Down
Now that
heavy.
thing that was frustrating you and you don't like fighting games because of it, and it seems like a button mashing stupid experience to you, is gone. That's an excuse eliminated because you just asked for help. People want to help each other in the FGC. Unless you're an American. Americans keep tech to themselves and we hate each other. But if you're in Japan, it's great.
I mean, yeah. Um, just don't remove input motions from fighting games, please, developers,
Please don't.
please.
And oh, last thing. You can make a game that's like, there are several games you can play if
Yeah,
you
that's
don't
true.
have motion. And that's the other thing. Last thing I was going to say is that it's not even the motions, because there are, if it was just the motions, you would play the games that don't have motions. You know,
Yeah, you would play
I
Power
don't
Rangers, you would play
Fantasy
Grand Blue,
Strike or
Fantasy Strike, yeah, which literally has
like
no motions.
fighting games to people. I think everyone only imagines maybe Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat come to mind. That's my assumption with the general populace. But I think people need to understand that the FGC is like an ice cream shop. There are multiple flavors of fighting games. It's not just vanilla and chocolate. It's not just these two games that you've seen someone play or you've seen a trailer for at Evo or E3 or any gaming convention, and that's it.
And
There is an option for you. Trust me.
and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, to the people that are saying, okay, well, I can't do input motions. So you got Mortal Kombat, you can go play. You have
Yeah,
Tekken, you can go play. That doesn't have input motions besides what, two characters,
pretty
being
much.
Geese
Yeah.
and Akuma.
Mm-hmm. And Elijah the Vampire, but that was so three. That's it.
You got Power Rangers. You got Grand Blue. You can play. You can play. I think you can play Fexel, which is
Got it.
um Fighting EX Slayer. I blanked on the name for a second, but but you can play Fexel. That has a system that you can either do the input motions, same as Grand Blue. You can either do the input motions, or you have I think it's called progressive inputs on there, where it's it's direction and a button.
What's impressive is in Fighting EX Layer, the default is progressive. I have to actually go into the settings
Yeah,
and change it
yeah.
to the traditional motions.
And
So
then
if you
there's
turn
like
on that, I'm
I
going to
know
teach you
I know
motion
Grand
first.
Blue has like a cooldown system with theirs.
Yeah.
And it rewards you for doing the input though, where the cooldown is shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
maybe
you can play with it without they doing the inputs. I would suggest against it, but
yeah, true. Like games that have a non-input mode or version or skill, you find that not even just new players, but pro players use a balance of the two. And Grand Blue Fantasy, you can react and do certain things you couldn't do with emotion, but you can do with the one button input specials or shortcuts.
yeah.
So it's a benefit for everyone.
I think that's it
Yeah,
on this topic. So we'll
yeah.
move on
Just
to
try. Yeah, I'm gonna say just try a fighting game. Just try one and play it with a friend and see how you feel from that.
because like
That's my.
I feel like a lot of people saying go remove inputs are the people that like don't try not. I think it's more so the people that aren't trying to put that time in, rather than it is the people that have a disability. I think it's probably 90% to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
That 10% is being the people like, oh, I have a disability, I just can't do it. So okay, I get it. Yeah, I think there's ways that you can do it, but if you're set in that, that's fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like that 90%, I think are the people that don't want to put the time in learning how to play a fighting game. Did we lag out again?
I think a little bit, no. But I think we're fine. Yeah. I mean, it's me and you don't play DDR, but I could complain and say DDR is trash or DDR is hard.
Yeah.
Booster fast.
And then people would go, well, just get good. It's like, okay, why can't we use that excuse in fighting games?
Yeah. Fat mother trucker, just lose some weight. You'll be good at DDR. I'm like, well, dang, shoot. Why can't I just tell people to do a quarter circle and shut up? I'm not even asking for a press motion. I'm just asking, can you throw out a firewall to save your life? Maybe everyone just needs just kidnap everyone's family. Like, all right, gun to your head. Do a Hadoken or your family's dying. It's on ice. It's over. Right now. Do it.
But now we can even say like Street Fighter is adding characters that don't have input motions.
Mm-hmm.
Ed and Falk.
You got to think that was you for a minute, actually.
Yeah, I was an Ed main for a little bit, and then I left, and then I came back, and then Dragon Ball came out, and I just dropped the game. I played Cody for a little bit, but
yeah,
I also just went back to Ryu. Unfortunately,
maybe Ryu will be better in Street Fighter 6.
One can hope.
Maybe Street Fighter 6 will get rolled back like some games, like Skullgirls,
So we'll move on to the next topic, which is
speaking of Skullgirls.
Yeah. Speaking of Skullgirls, yeah, that's actually a good point. We have the end of the Mike Z saga. So if y'all remember, Mike Z he was the head programmer or head developer that worked on Skullgirls. He was, I think last time we talked about it, accused of sexual assault or sexual abuse, something like that.
Misconduct or something.
Yeah, sexual misconduct in the workplace, stuff like that. Eventually, just nothing was happening with it. So his employees of Lab Zero Games got fed up because he was supposed to be getting kicked out of his own company, basically. Somehow that shit got spun around to where it didn't, and he dissolved the board of directors. And it's like, what? How do you do that? One.
Oh, how he did that? Right. Flipping Houdini.
So then he became basically the president again, and didn't kick himself out. So all of his employees left. So again, Skullgirl starts getting a bad rep. People are like, oh, don't play Skullgirls. They have this asshole dude as the creator of the game. He's not the creator of the game. Don't say that. He's just the head developer. He barely works on the game now. Doesn't anymore now, for sure. But the good thing is, what Autumn Games, and then I forgot who the people that work on the mobile game. Both of them came out, made a statement saying they're no longer associated with Mike Z, but to bring in the new character to Skullgirls that was announced, they are going to bring on the former Lab Zero employees to work on the game, so they still get an income. Which, shout outs to them. That was the best thing to do in the situation. Because if they didn't do that, I think a lot of people would have been pissed the fuck off.
Bro, I was terrified. Skullgirls got its second wind, man. That game to most of the dev team was finished. It was done. We're gonna do anything more. They were just working on a mobile game, and then Rona actually gave that game a second shot in the limelight, and it seemed as if Mike Z did everything in his power to literally destroy the momentum Skullgirls was getting in that spot. It just seemed as if you couldn't have done this 2 years ago, Mike. You couldn't have done this 6 months for this. You're doing this now. When Skullgirls is $1 and everyone's excited and you just announced a new character. You're really doing this right now. Okay. I thought this game was going to get an amazing new patch and a great new character and possibly future content from what we see the developers alluding to in a lot of their, official posts. And it seems like overnight, one man's poor decision making skills was going to ruin that for so many other people. And I'm glad that's not the case.
So yeah, it seems like we finally got to the end of Mike Z is now out of the Skullgirls community and hopefully the fighting game community as a whole.
Oh my!
Finally.
Yo, could you imagine? Since this has been a trilogy, this is the Star Wars of the FGC, and they brought back Palpatine. Do you think Mike will come back?
Get the resurgence of Mike Z? I fucking hope not.
Do you think Mike Z?
Hey guys, we're here at Capcom to announce that we have hired Mike Z. He's gonna be our lead developer for Street Fighter 6.
No, I'm telling you, Mike Z and Mr. Wizard team up, bruh.
Oh, they're gonna make their own tournament.
They go make their own tournament.
Evo East.
And they make their own fighting game. They're hired to make King of Fighters 15. That's what happens. I haven't seen a single dev from that squad yet, so we'll see.
That's all we really got for that topic. Just kind of an update on that situation. So the last thing we have is, well, I guess now 2 days ago, but on what, Sunday or Monday?
Yeah.
What day was the 31st?
Something like that?
Monday. Yeah, Monday. Well, I guess it kind of depends on what time it came out, but we'll say Monday because that's the date that's up here. On the 31st, ArcSys put out their third developer's backyard for Guilty Gear Strive. So we're going to kind of do a basic rundown of that, of what was talked about. I got the page up right now. I'll leave a link of it in the description. If I remember. The first thing I want to point out, because netcode is a big belief of this channel.
Roll back netcode.
Question 4 is asking the developers why they aren't addressing the rollback netcode in any of the blogs so far. The silence is kind of worrisome. It is answered by Katano, who's part of the development team. Daisuke only answered a couple questions, but Katano said, where's it back? We already announced that Guilty Gear Strive will reuse rollback netcode, which is currently still under development, and they are hoping to show players the netcode not as a section of a developer backyard, but when they can actually play the game themselves. So it seems like they want to try it in a beta, make sure it works, and that's to be the first time we really touch and really see the rollback netcode rather than getting talked to about it. Because what are you going to say to us, really? Hey guys, we're using GGPO. All right, cool. Like, sweet, thank you. But
see you in 6 months. Yeah, good luck.
Like that's like the only thing that you would be able to say the netcode that'd be like, all right, cool. And they said, oh yeah, our rollback netcode is this name. I'll be like, dude, who the fuck cares? Like,
yeah.
Does it work?
The issue is just because you say rollback doesn't mean we can trust you now because of Street Fighter 5.
But I get why they're not talking about it, because what is there really to talk about besides we're working on it to make sure it works?
I almost feel like that was a waste of a question, because the rollback netcode, the term in this situation, is something we just have to, as a player base, wait and see.
Yeah, and then they say, we ask for your patience until then is the last sentence of the answer. And it's like, that's a proper answer. Like, there's no way to answer, or there's no way to address rollback netcode besides we're doing it on a game that we haven't seen it yet. It's their first time doing rollback. They want to make sure it works, and the first time we're going to see it is when we can play the game eventually. Easy answer. But yeah. Let's see. What question do we want to touch on this? Question 5, they're talking about introducing a ranking system because there were issues with XR where an intermediate player could get matched with, a pro player at super high level, and end up ranking down. And however, being able to choose your opponent could create a disparity in the ability between players in the same rank. They kind of talk about it. They're going to announce the details of their ranking system on a different channel. It says it will be a completely different system prior to other games. I don't know if that's saying prior Guilty Gear games or prior Arc Sys games as a whole. Um, it says before we made systems for our games in the arcades, then used those ideas as a base when making them on the console version. However, since we were developing a game with online matches in mind from the start, the baseline is already quite different. Um, we noticed players would avoid playing matches that impacted their rank because they didn't like losing points, and having multiple online modes split the player base, making it difficult for beginners to, in particular, to match with people around their skill level. These are two major issues as we see these two issues as major problems, and our goal is to avoid them with this game. Which, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't. Again, I think that's another one where you can't really answer it a different way.
Yeah, we have to see what the game modes are ourselves. Even if you describe a game mode, it might not do it justice. Game modes or rankings.
And then the last sentence is also, I'd like to address this now as it's related to online modes. We're implementing more online features in this game for those who want to take their matches seriously.
Go, baby.
So it's like, so we're going to have ranked? Like, isn't that what already exists?
I don't know if that means you're I don't know if you're innovating what ranked is or how we experience ranked. I don't know, because we already have Arc System Works teams that have traditional rank gaming modes where you go up, you get points. A la Street Fighter 5, a la most games, you get points for killing somebody and beating them in a set or a specific game. Okay, after a certain number of points, you go up to a different rank threshold. Unless that's not the case, that's like every ranked game mode under the sun.
Yeah. So I guess you know what? This is just gonna be me reading the question and reading the answers. I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll read this one because you and me talked about it before when the game was first announced. Will Gears of Gear? Have you read this all, by the way, Malik?
I read about half. Never involved.
All right. So will the story of Guilty Gear Strive be a continuation of the previous game, or will it be a start of a new story? Lord Daisuke says this is a continuation of Xrd. But it's going to be in a way that even new players can enjoy it. So it's going to be a continuation, but new.
So the way I see it is like most TV shows in America.
I think it's same. I think it's same timeline, different arc.
Or the way I look at it is like comic books, right? Where comic books have extended lore that go back maybe a couple decades or maybe a couple years back, depending on the writer. If a certain writer is like, okay, I want to use this author's run of Batman as the basis of my story. So if I reference something, you have to go back to that author's Batman issue to know what I'm talking about when I say the Joker did this back in 85 or whatever, So I'm looking at it like that. Okay, you have the old book and now you got the new book. Here's Guilty Gear lore from this point, from Strive onward. Here's the main focus. And we will make slight references for the old fans, but we're not going to just drop Valentines left and right. And people have to ask, what the heck is a Valentine? What is the backyard? Or that might be explained.
And then Lord Daisuke also wraps it up saying, also, we have something in the works for those curious about the story. So far, we'll have more information on that later.
Bro, if we get an anime, if we get an actual Guilty Gear anime,
if we get an anime, if we get an act like a manga, I think we had one already talking about what the fuck is their name? Tier. It was one of the other like knights that were in the Sacred Order.
Oh, okay, so Holy Order, Sacred Holy Order.
Yeah, it was another knight that was in it.
Okay,
but they like time traveled or some shit. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, but I do think Guilty Gear's lore is really cool. Being a weeb is cool now. Anime is cool now. This is the one shot you have at making Guilty Gear cool when it already has been cool to most people that have taken the time to dig into the lore.
Bro, I would watch a Guilty Gear anime in a heartbeat, bro.
Could you imagine the anime opening, Doug, of that Guilty Gear anime? Look at all the different Arc System Works opening cutscenes for their games, and then just imagine, all right, now this is legitimately an anime. I think that's going to have to be like half the budget. It's about half the whole game, not game, but the whole anime budget right there. I will pay extra money for DLC if they say the DLC proceeds go to the anime. If you want season 4 of Guilty Gear, you better buy this character. Heck yeah, take my money. Where do I sign up?
Let's see. That's a long ass answer. I don't feel like reading that yet.
But that's speculation. So far, this backyard, though, the questions we have gone over are promising because they're all questions that would be difficult to answer if I was in their shoes, and they're handling it very well, saying, "Just give us time. We are trying, and we're not trying to BS you." These answers don't sound like they're misdirecting or they're trying to avoid altogether. They're just saying, "Hey, look, that's a tough question because even if we answered you the question honestly, you wouldn't really believe us. So just hold off on that."
So this question, I've noticed that there are a few subtle difference, almost hidden mechanics and techniques, such as changing directions when roaming, canceling an air dash, or by using faultless defense after an air dash to fall faster. Do you plan on having more similar, advanced, and unique techniques that are more that the player have seemed to have missed in the beta? I think that may be a translation because that last part was kind of weird. Kanado says, yes, even as a closed beta, we are including many more techniques than we've explained. We wanted to collect data about what players would find and how they would use it in their limited time with the game. So they basically just put stuff in the game, didn't tell anybody about it, and said, all right, figure this shit out. We'll see what they can do.
I low-key like that.
When we release information on our official channels, it will have an impact of how people play the game. We want everyone to play the game, particularly in regards to the new mechanics, in a neutral state. In the end, we want to leave room for players' discoveries to exceed our expectations. Also, we are still working on the game. There are going to be many major changes compared to the closed beta test. We'll have more information later. Obviously, I think we assume that. I think a lot of people had issues with the closed beta, being damaged. Kind of short combos, I think, was another thing that, I think you and me both agreed on. It just didn't feel like a Guilty Gear game almost.
Triple Fafnir, 5 dolphins in a row,
Yeah.
5H, 5H, 5H. Oh, I mean, heavy slash, heavy slash, heavy slash, wall break,
I'm also reading these questions out of order for everyone that's interested. And it's going to go like, what the fuck? You read all these? The next one is, how does the development team feel about the current state of instant blocking IB and faultless defense FD, with the added emphasis of risk, even though it's hard to see without the UI is implemented? And the question keeps going. And Daisuke says, we are continually debating defensive mechanics in the game. To address IB specifically, in the closed beta, we simply decrease the reward gain from successfully IBing in order to avoid IB becoming a prerequisite for matches and strategy. However, this removed any incentive to try to IB, while also failing to improve the mechanic because the input required remain unchanged. So we're currently rethinking the input and effect of IB completely. Our plans is to make the mechanics something more exciting by the next time you can play the game. Look forward to what we come up with.
So, this is a complete over-exaggeration, but to me, in my head, that makes me think we're getting something fun like a parry.
That would be sick.
Not an actual parry, but something that's satisfying where it's a defensive mechanic, and it's going to be really amazing if you can pull that off in a pressured situation.
I think that'd be
sick.
Not
an actual parry, but something equivalent to that.
Well, I think an actual parry would be sick.
Guilty Gear having parries, to me, would be that just blows my mind. I don't think I could handle them. I don't think I could handle an Evo Grand Finals where someone's going to get insta-killed.
Someone just parries Ride the Lightning.
Yeah. I don't like flipping Sin. If Sin comes back and he has a multiple dash hit super, I don't know. You got to think. You have to know which way that person's going. You have to know the parry time. There's a lot involved with parrying supers, let alone just regular moves in fighting games.
Especially because I think you can stagger Sin's dash super.
Yes. You can go really fast. You can like pop, dash, dash, dash. If there's a parry in that game, Sin could just wait a half second and you effed up your dash timing, parry timing, rather.
That'd
you're
be crazy.
Dead. Could you imagine?
That would, honestly, that might top Evo Moment 37, just because it's not a set timing.
Evo Moment 45. It's Daigo went back to playing Guilty Gear because he does play Guilty Gear. Plays Soul again, lands a flipping parry on someone's Ride the Lightning or whatever, and just everyone's flipping the fudge out.
So
goes straight rated R, kills the person.
The last question we'll cover, which is the first question of the backyard. Is your goal with Guilty Gear Strive to create a complex fighting game or a simple one? Or a simpler one? Daisuke says, watch the Japanese roundtable. I covered that. You can hear my thoughts there. Kanado says, first I'd like to establish that we believe that simple and easy are separate concepts. Agree. With that in mind, I'll go over the developmental concepts for Guilty Gear Strive again. Which it sounds like we're tired of covering this shit. Here's the last time.
Yeah, in polite Japanese to English translation, yes.
That I'll go over this like, again.
Let's hear my saying once again. One more time. All right.
Is it with previous games in the series, new players would not be able to understand what is going on in the match when they watched high-level play, so they wouldn't feel very interested or motivated to improve. Because of that, we are working hard to make the appearance of moves and general impression of the game easier to comprehend compared to prior entries in the series. However, advanced techniques will be accordingly difficult to perform. After all, if everyone chooses the same actions and combos and set play in particular, end up with only one correct option, this would take away Guilty Gear's unique appeal. I believe that the solution to get new players to enjoy matches is not to make the game itself easier, but rather to create a rank system that makes it easy for them to play with others who are around the same skill level. If players can fight others at the same level, there's no need to try and make new players play the same way as advanced players, nor to make the game mechanics that obscure the gap in their skill levels. I'm certain that we can make a game that new players can enjoy while also keeping advanced techniques in the game. Also, the techniques in Strive are difficult in a different way than those of previous Guilty Gear games. Series veterans that have been practicing the difficult techniques from prior titles for many years now. Oh, I thought that was good. Continue. That's why in the current environment we have been able to see such thoroughly optimized high-level play. However, our goal for this game is to create something new and equally challenging for all players. That's actually a good-ass fucking statement. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, that is the greatest thing you could ever hear as a Guilty Gear fan. That is the
that answered probably everyone's worries about the beta test.
Hearing that answer makes me think I can go to sleep tonight and not even care about. I don't have to worry about Strive. I just have to wait. If this isn't a No Man's Sky situation where we're being sold a dream, which I want to give Arc System Works the benefit of the doubt, and we're not being sold a dream or just an idea, if they even try to make this a reality, that statement of reality, I'm going to be happy. And this is the best part, right? It's a fighting game, meaning when it comes out day one, it's not going to be the final version. There's going to be updates. There's going to be patches. There's probably going to be a new version of Guilty Gear Strive. There'll be DLC characters. We will get to a point where, okay, we're at Strive, Super Strive or whatever. And Super Strive is like the greatest thing we could ever ask, because Strive was already a fun game at its core, and now we just made it even better. Rev 2 and Rev was some of the best fighting game labbing and playing I've ever had, man. So just imagine making that experience more applicable to other people, and the ability to play Guilty Gear without being in a Discord call or on a server with somebody, but I could just go to the online matchmaking and constantly get people to play, like an actual living, breathing Guilty Gear community, is insane. If we get a Guilty Gear game half as good as XR or XX, and I could just go online and match up with people half as frequent, on a good Dragon Ball day when a new character drops and the servers are packed, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great time to be a Guilty Gear fan.
I think, honestly, that answer, like I said, I think it relieves a lot of the worries that were surrounding this game. With the idea of it's just going to be simple. I think that first sentence was fucking amazing, of simple is not easy. I think that is, that's such a good answer. Like, oh my God. Because everyone's like, oh, it just seems so much simpler now in the terms of saying, oh, it looks just easier. But that answer is just like, hey, it might look simpler, but fuck you, bitches.
I like that because it seems as if what that means is the stuff we were doing in the beta and the stuff we may do in the next beta or pre-release
isn't
even on day
even
one,
isn't even scratching the fucking surface.
that's not scratching the surface. And guess what? People who play Guilty Gear for the first time are still going to be comfortable doing those things because they didn't require that much air quotes execution or difficulty. You know,
Yeah.
Dolphin 5 times in a row breaking the wall, doing 80%. I assume that damage will change, but we know that there's still a possibility a newer player can still do Dolphin 5 times in a row in a close match with someone who's around that skill level doing the same type of thing and have a fun time. That's what that answer relates to me, is that when we end up months down the road and maybe possibly years discovering new tech and digging into those layers they're talking about, people who buy the game for the first time are still going to have fun doing the things we were doing in the beta, because I was having a fun time in the beta, barring some small complaints. When I can get into a match, when I'm playing the game in Guilty Gear Strive, that beta, I was having fun. And I think people who are new to Guilty Gear can have fun in that same way.
Yeah. Well, Blake, I think that wraps up this week's episode.
Yes, sir.
Everyone be on the lookout. Malik's Dragon Ball video, his edited Dragon Ball video, comes out tomorrow. When this video drops, it'll come out the day after this video. As long as I can get this out on time. So just be on the lookout for that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the Fall Guys content that's been being posted lately. We still got more of that to come.
That game's addictive, y'all.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoy. I might start recording some solo gameplay if I can't get anybody else on.
Let me put it this way: if you hate Fall Guys, tough toenails, that's gonna be on the channel for a while.
Yeah. Sorry,
like
guys.
Everywhere on YouTube.
We're having a little bit too much fun playing Fall Guys. I was playing by myself today, actually. I didn't record it.
It's burnout in that game. You think you're only gonna play Fall Guys for 5 minutes, but you play for an hour, and it doesn't feel like it's been that long. It's a fun game.
I played before I ate, and then I started playing FIFA on stream. So yeah, be on the lookout. I'm thinking about trying to stream on the days I got off again.
Okay.
Hopefully consistently.
Quick vid idea actually for you before we go, right?
What's up?
So I was thinking of doing an FGC for Dummies kind of series, because I don't see anything like that out. I'm trying. Punk, actually, give the background. So Punk uploaded a YouTube video recently, right? And it was showing something that I think a lot of people feel, and I felt this for a while, is that the FGC, specifically non-Smash Bros. Titles, have had a hard time bringing in new faces, especially younger faces. You know, a lot of the FGC are people in the same age demographic, or
we're all old men,
folks, or old men. You know, it's increasingly harder. Punk was praised at being a young prodigy, even though he was only like 18, 19.
Yeah, around that, yeah.
And realistically, compared to other games that have competitive scenes or esports, that's not the youngest. That's pretty old, actually, compared to most other scenes.
To be fair, we also had that Dragon Ball kid that was in your pool at Evo that won on stream.
Oh, yeah. And his dad were playing together. And then that kid was cool.
Beat that dude's ass on stream, dude.
I felt so bad for that dude. And he phone
I'm like, you can't win, dude. Like it's a lose-lose situation. If you win, you beat up a little kid. If you lose, you got beat by a little kid.
And then if you win just barely, it's like, oh, you almost lost to a little kid. Come on, bro. You're supposed to demolish that kid. It's either you demolish the kid, and everyone's like, come on, bro, have a heart, or you get bodied by the kid. Because if you just barely win, then everyone's like, oh my God, this kid is good. He gets all the praise. And then you're just like the dude that struggled against the kid. It's wild. He was playing on pad too, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah. I think he was playing on pad.
His dad was a stick player. He was a pad player.
I think they were. I think him and the dude he was playing against were both playing on pad.
Sweet. Shouts to pad players.
Yeah.
You don't need a fight. Do whatever you're comfortable with, people.
I mean, I went on fight stick because I play hitbox at every game but Dragon Ball.
Yeah, like for me, right? Small tangent. I went the fight stick, right? Because for years I used to observe and watch fighting games and just be that background guy lurking in streams and watching Evo at once a year, and that's it. But I always wanted to try, but I sucked. I just didn't get it. And arcades were increasingly, harder to go to as I got older or as I moved around. So I knew how to play or at least have a button match on an arcade stuff, actual machine. But on pad, it just felt so foreign and weird. It felt yucky. playing anything on pad besides just like Borderlands 2 or Rocket League just felt off. So getting a fight stick for me was because I didn't have a calling. I didn't feel like I was comfortable on pad. So I wanted to try something different. And that was my investment. So if you feel the same way, if you're hearing this, give a fight stick a try. Now be careful because you get what you pay for, but that doesn't mean a cheaper fight stick is a bad fight stick. Might be the start of a new beginning.
Also suggest, if maybe 5.6 not your thing, maybe you can always stick the pad, but maybe give Hitbox a try.
Yeah, maybe get Hitbox. Or third option,
Mixbox.
maybe just get a different type of pad. They do make fighting game pads, with better D pads or with different button layouts. Yeah, cross up.
I think cross up is not being sold right now. I think it's only going to Patreon people.
So back to the idea, right? Punk drops the video mentioning that the FGC is kind of stagnating, and part of that stagnation is we only really blow up during Evo or major events, and then it gets quiet. But we do that same level of excitement is happening all around us. But the only way you can, the only portal or the only window you get into the FGC is people streaming the game, which they all look the same. It's everyone with their webcam, everyone with maybe a stream UI and the chat scrolling by, playing the game and preferably ranked, or talking about the game or labbing the game, watching game footage. Yeah. And there's only so much of that you can do before, okay, it's just pick your flavor. Do you want to watch Sage stream where he's analyzing Dragon Ball today? Or do you want to watch Hook's stream where he's, talking trash about people and telling stories while playing Dragon Ball? Or do you want to watch Lotus YouTube channel where he talks super fast at the speed of sound? Or do you want to watch, Cloud 805's YouTube channel where he may or may not drop some knowledge or some tech on you? Or do you want to watch a niche person like Alucard who's playing unconventional characters and is a specialist in those characters? There's only so much of that you can watch, and odds are those audiences overlap. And also, you're probably not getting a new kid who saw Dragon Ball on Evo stream or Combo Breaker stream to coincidentally go into those channels. They're probably fighting. We need to get new people. So to me, I think the best thing I could do is whenever a new game is about to drop, rather than trying to ride the wave of clout, become the next Guilty Gear Strive stream player, where I am the best or I'm one of the notable content creators for Guilty Gear Strive. I'd rather just do here's Guilty Gear for Dummies, right? And Guilty Gear for Dummies would have a lore episode and have a mechanics episode. And in the lore episode, either me or you or both of us, if we could write a script or something, just say, here in literally 5 minutes for both is the general story. Here's stuff about Frederick. Here's the stuff about what is a gear, just the terms, what is Valentine. This is actually our world, but in the future, magic exists because technology was banned. And if we only cover certain amounts of story, but you want more, we'll say, hey, here's a link to, Guilty Gear 101, which is a full lecture on everything Guilty Gear if you want to know more. But that's been Guilty Gear for Dummies. Thank you for watching. Here's the link to Guilty Gear for Dummies mechanics episode. And in that episode, we just show a screen of a match and we pause it and we go, okay, this looks crazy, doesn't it? What the heck is going on? All this Let It Rock and BS blazing everywhere. What is happening? What's on this screen? Well, this meter does this. This meter is this. This meter you don't have to care about. Only look at this, this, and this during the match and have fun. If you want a character guide or a character breakdown, I've linked a video that helps you figure out which character you want to play or you should try playing if you like certain things. Good luck. And that way, in 10 minutes, you've gone from I have background knowledge about the lore, which is something that people talk about all the time and find interesting, but no one's it's really hard to actually figure it out without playing the game or just reading the wiki,
Yeah.
And I think the UI is one of those things people kind of just brush over. When you're a new player, you literally don't know what the heck you're besides the characters. And basic system mechanics like what is Blitz and all that. Because we throw out terms in Guilty Gear and other fighting games that you don't automatically understand as a new player. You don't know what IED stands for. You don't know what an instant air dash even is. You know.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do that type of series for fighting games that we already currently play, because I think that's going to help with the passion on it. And moving on forward for later releases of games we may pick up.
Before we wrap up, I do want to say, go out and vote for Esports Awards 2020. There's 2 FGC people that got nominations. For Esports Photographer of the Year, Stephanie Lindgren Vexeni. She's the one that took the photo of Arslan Ash after he won Evo praying.
Oh, yeah.
And then Esteban Martinez, hold back the block. He did the KI documentary. Go out, vote for them. Rep the FGC. That's the last thing I gotta say.
Thank you all for watching.
Yeah, thank everyone for watching. Hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, keep an eye out for that Dragon Ball video tomorrow.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
You gotta say it or else you don't do it, apparently. That's actually part of YouTube's data collection.
Yeah. And roll that outro.